and they would ask the children, show me the doll. That's nice.
That video goes on to describe a famous study by the Doctors Clark from the 1940s that influenced civil rights legislation in the 50s and the 60s. They asked black children to label a black or a white doll, would say which one is nice. They would give the white doll more positive characteristics. Later, they would ask the black children to say which one looks like you, and it created a visible sense of like cognitive dissonance and clearly a bad feeling in those children. It was a great and famous study, lots of attention, deservedly so. Oftentimes people wonder, have things changed? Well, we have some data on that. One of the limitations of this study is it was done in a laboratory, and it was asking young children to actually articulate their feelings. Does that translate to real-world beliefs, real-world behavior? Well, a new study that I just read looks at a more real-world situation. This study by Tony Sturdivant from Texas A&M put with a frankly amazing title of "I'm Gonna Cook My Baby in a Pot." Used an observational design in a preschool classroom and looked very carefully at the behavior of two 4-year-old black girls. The girls were provided, well, the whole class was provided with 4 different dolls of varying skin types: white, Latina, dark-skinned black, although she's not that dark, and light-skinned black with curlier hair. Over a period of 3 months, researchers tracked these 2 young girls' interactions with the dolls according to 11 different categories of qualitative behavior here. Researchers found clear preference for light-skinned dolls and against darker-skinned dolls, including a situation where there was only the black doll available to be played with. Instead, even after prompting, the girl is disappointed with only having access to the black doll and instead chooses to play on a cell phone. They also found that the darker black doll was treated more roughly with less concern than the lighter skinned dolls. Here, one of the girl picks up the dark one and says, "I'm gonna cook my baby in the pot." They've encountered things like how often the dolls were stepped on as kids ran out of that area into another one, and they found that only the darker black doll was stepped on, not the lighter skinned dolls. Sturdivant concludes, children's attentiveness to race coupled with our society's everyday racism and anti-blackness helps to explain these girls' documented preference for whiteness. It's subtle, it's pervasive, and it's clearly there at age 4. So we've clearly come a long way since the 40s. I mean, in the original Clark study, black dolls weren't even available. They had to find a white doll and paint it black. So things are more subtle today, but they're still there. She concludes the kids have a right to develop a positive racial identity. The development will not happen unless we make a conscious decision to discuss race and racism.